Good morning. I got a call from my mom at 5 o'clock this morning. And I can tell you her exact schedule. 4 o'clock, she wakes up, goes, grabs a cup of coffee, goes in the garage, smokes a cigarette, comes back inside, and then by 4:30, she's on the road going to work. And at 5, she gives me a call. And she goes, "Hey, honey, I hope I didn't wake you up, but I just had to let you know that the photo you sent in the group chat was very funny." I'm like, "Oh, thanks, Mom, that's cute. But what the hell are you doing awake at 5 o'clock on a Saturday?" And she's like, "Honey, I'm at work." And I literally say, I'm like, damn, I feel like a bum now. I was planning on sleeping in, so as soon as we get off this call, I'm getting up. And you know what I did? I fell back asleep for another 3 hours. So 8 o'clock, I look at my phone and I'm like, fuck, dude. And I felt so bad that I told my mom that I was gonna do something, I let her down, but I also feel even worse because I told myself that I was gonna do something and I didn't follow through with it. And if you slip up once, it's a mistake, but if you do it twice, 3 times, 4 times, and over time, that just becomes a habit. I feel like one of the worst things you can do is tell yourself that you're gonna do something and don't do it. It's a horrible feeling, it's a very horrible feeling. So for the rest of the week, we're waking up at 4 o'clock. But for today, the goal is to be productive. That's the goal for every day. A productive day leads to a good night's rest. I think, I don't fucking know. But I feel like when you're productive throughout the day, you can go to sleep happy. So that's the goal for the rest of the week. Send the intention on a Sunday, and I need a cup of coffee. So let's go get some coffee.
Come on. Oh, let's go. More. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Yep. Again. Come on. Come on. Right. Again, come on. Come on, finish strong. These are the ones, let's go. Again, let's go. Drop. Good, come on. Drop.
All right, boys, we're pulling some cards today. I can't remember the last time I did this, bro. I probably was like 12 years old. And when I tell you, I had binders and binders full of these suckers. It was just like endless amounts of Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, baseball cards, pretty much everything under the sun. And I'm scratching this today, bro. I see everybody pulling cards lately, and since I have no idea where my binders went, I might as well build the collection back up. So we got some of these guys. We got the single packs, and to be completely honest, bro, I have no idea like what's good and what's not good. But the lady at the store recommended I got some of these. She recommended this guy, Phantasmal Flames Booster Pack, and then she also recommended this sucker. And I don't need the poster in it, but she said I have a very high chance of pulling a Charizard. So we're gonna dig in. But bro, when I tell you, today was the first day in the gym where I kind of felt like myself again. It was such a damn good feeling, bro. I think it was the 80-pound dumbbells. I ran those for like 3 solid sets of like 10 to 12 on that last set. I think I only got like 8 because I was just like starting to get gassed. But it feels so good to be out of the braces, working out again, just like doing my thing. I feel like myself, you know. I left the gym with a genuine smile on my face, and that shit just, it felt so fucking good, bro. And you know, for like the past week in the gym, like I feel like I'm starting to get to that point where I feel like I have a little more confidence lifting, and you know, things are starting to heal up pretty good. The only pain that I really have, bro, it's interesting. It's not my bicep. It's where they drilled into my forearm and, you know, kind of anchored everything down. That's the only really like the pain that I'm getting right now. But no, I can't complain. I feel like the healing process has been going pretty well. And I'm just really excited to get back into the gym. This one's a cool card. No, it's not good. But yeah, bro, everything has been feeling really good lately. Oh, he's shiny, but not good. All right, another sucker. Damn, bro, these are just, I'm getting, oh. Nah, I really wish that I came to terms with the whole injury thing, like, way sooner than I did, bro. It was only within like the past like 2 or 3 weeks that I kind of just accepted what was going on. And I feel like previous to that, bro, I was kind of just like brushing it aside or, you know, acting like it didn't happen, which wasn't good because my mind just started to wander to a whole bunch of different places. And, you know, I really didn't like myself at that time, bro. To be honest, it's been difficult looking in the mirror sometimes and just like seeing my body just, I feel like I'm descending, bro. I'm losing so much weight. I'm 194. I was like 225 previous. And, you know, I'm just not too fond of my physique right now. But the biggest thing that I've really been trying to, you know, have a hold on is my mental and, you know, just healing and, you know, doing everything I can for my body and my mind and just really keeping everything in a good spot. You know, I think that's the most important thing. You know, when your mind's good, your body's going to follow. So I think, you know, I really had to fix everything up here before my arms could get fixed. And, you know, it's crazy because it might just be a huge coincidence or this might be, you know, God leading me in the right direction. But, you know, it wasn't until I started thinking about things differently that I started to see some like notable progress with everything. So I really, bro, wholeheartedly, I think there is a very, very high correlation with everything. But, you know, something that I really, like I said, I really wish that I came to terms with is, you know, just being injured in the first place, bro. Because I feel like my whole concept of time, bro, I feel like it's changed so much within the past, you know, a few months of my life. You know, I can always recognize that the hand on the clock is ticking, but, you know, it really wasn't until recent that I realized that I'm never going to get those days back, that time back, the minutes, the hours, bro, everything that comes with it. Once the day is done, the day is done. And there's no going back to it, bro. It's crazy to think about. And I feel like a lot of people have a really distorted, you know, just concept of really what time is. Because we waste as people, bro, even myself, we waste so much valuable time doing stupid shit like pulling Pokemon cards and, you know, scrolling on our phones or, you know, even just thinking about the past, you know. If there's something in your life that you regret or, you know, you look back on and you're not very happy with, the only thing you can do, bro, or even if you just get stuck in a shitty circumstance, like, you know, tearing both your biceps, you just have to accept your fate and move on, bro. You know, you just have to keep pushing because the moment, ooh, I see some good cards in this bitch. All right, because the moment that you start living in the past rather than the present, it's gonna tear your whole life apart, bro, and it's not really good. But I have some high hopes with this pack, bro. Good. Oh, okay. No bangers, but we'll get there eventually. On the last pack right now, I think God gave us one of the greatest abilities, and I think that's to impact others' lives in a positive way. And you can break it down to the very minimal, bro. There's people out there who are having shit days, just maybe their life is a mess right now, and it's crazy how much a smile can do for somebody. You can look at a stranger on the street, crack a smile, and that can make their entire day, and that can make them live to see another day. And I just think how it's crazy to think about, bro, because the things that many people take for granted, I don't know what that is. The things that people take for granted, bro, is that they really don't know how much of an impact that they have on not only their own life, their own existence, but the people around them too. There's so many things that I wish I can go back and change and do differently, but the more that I think about it, bro, I think everything really does happen for a reason. And even with everything going on in my life, bro, there's so many things that I want to do and accomplish, and just I have so many standards that I hold for myself. And with the injury within the past couple months, bro, I feel like I've lost sight of it completely. But yeah, bro, I was just thinking bad about myself, and I really wish I was able to have my mind in a better spot, because it's very simple, bro. Any task that you want to accomplish is very doable. It's a very simple formula. If I wanted to be in the NBA within the next 2 years, which I don't, but just for an example, bro, the very first step I gotta do is go to the store and buy a basketball. As simple as that. And then from there, I need to learn how to dribble, learn a little skill, learn how to shoot. And then maybe I'll break into like a 1-on-1 or a 6-on-6. I don't know what you'll play, but it's a very simple formula, bro. All you have to do is take one step at a time. And if you're just consistent with those steps and keep taking one after the other, you're gonna get somewhere. And I think it's really overwhelming and can cause a lot of anxiety when people think about their dreams and their hopes and how they seem so far away. But it's really just taking that first step that is the hardest part, because I think with anything in life, something new is very scary, very intimidating. But once you make that initial leap, then you just gotta accept you're in it. And once you're in it, you just gotta keep going. So, you can relate that to anything in life, bro. But we're breaking into this next pack. For the most part, I feel like I'm in a much better headspace now than I was before. Like I said, I was just beating myself up about, putting myself in this situation. And I just hate that, my decisions, my life, just the way I go about my life, it led me to that spot. But everything is temporary. If you're going through a hard time, if you got something going on in your life, you always got to remember that it's just a small blip of reality, bro. You can't get any of the time back, which is unfortunate. I wish I can go back and change a whole bunch of things, but it's not how the world works. But if you're blessed enough to see another day, I think just making the best out of it and really pushing forward with everything you're doing, that's the best way to live life. Going about the day with a smile on your face and just, like I said, trying to make an impact on others. I think that's the most important thing. We're not looking good, fellas. We're really not looking good. This is our last pack. Shiny Pikachu? No, he's not even Pikachu, bro. Ooh. I don't know what this is. Sometimes you're put in a very unfortunate situation, but the reality of it is that it's on you to make the best of it. Nobody else can do it for you. And I think that's kind of a scary thing, but at the same time, I feel like that's very freeing, because you have the ultimate control over your life. If you want to get something done, if you want to accomplish something, like I said, it's in your hands and you don't have to rely on anybody, bro. I think one of the biggest realizations that I had, and that a lot of young men have, is that nobody's coming to save you. And like I said, that shit can be scary, but at the same time, I think that is the most freeing thing in the world, because you can live your life the way that you want to live it. There's always going to be somebody in your life telling you, to do a certain thing or live a certain way, or, go to school here, or play a certain sport, instrument, whatever the fuck it is. But once you develop the ability to, speak for yourself and like really understand what you want in life, you should not listen to a single soul, bro. I think some people do offer really good advice, but a lot of people out there, bro, especially on social media, they're just spewing a whole bunch of bullshit. And like I said, you should just live your life the way you want to live it, because it's very rare that you come across good advice, especially nowadays. Hope. Ooh! Mega bore? I don't know what this is, bro. If you're able to, really connect to a certain thing that you love, and, even though it might take some time, I'm sure at a certain point, these cars, bro, they weren't worth anything. Any hope or dream that you have full control. And even if you are in a shit situation, there's always a way out of it. And you should never, ever give up hope on that. I believe that with my whole heart, every ounce of my being, that if you don't lose faith, that next good thing in your life it's gonna come eventually. But it's really up to you to just Charmeleon. Maybe this is a Charizard pack, but it's really up to you to hold that faith and never give up on yourself or your situation. Why'd I do this, bro? All right, we didn't really pull anything. We got some cool shiny cards, but that's about it. We did not get the card we were looking for, but I'm making some dinner. We got some chicken thighs in the pan. And what I really like about chicken thighs is that not only do they taste better than chicken breasts, but they still got a really high amount of protein. They got some omega-3s in here, and you can eat it with just about anything. But I really like these, like I said, because of the omega-3s. And during the healing process, consuming something that is omega-3 rich, it's supposed to aid in just recovery and whatnot. So I'm trying to do everything to get better a little faster. But with that being said, I got a whole bunch of chicken thighs right now. I got a bunch of salmon in the fridge. I got some avocados, and I even got the omega-3 capsules. I'm trying to get out of these braces. So like I said, we're doing everything we can. I really appreciate you guys, and like I said, talking is the best form of therapy. So I appreciate you guys being there. I love you guys. But that's all I got. So I'll see you in the next one.